Thank you for joining. My name is Kate Van Loveren, and I will be presenting on the impact of first and last author's gender on authorship, gender discrepancy, and emergency medicine research. Over the past 4 decades, the participation of women in medicine has increased, both overall and in emergency medicine. In EM research, the gender gap has narrowed between first and last authors, or the significant authors, in original research publications. However, based on these trends, it is not known how the gender of the significant author impacts the gender composition of the middle authors. The objective of this study was to analyze the role of significant authors in bridging the gender gap in EM publishing, considering that significant authors are most likely in leadership positions for these publications or the most prominent members of the research team. To analyze this, we identified 4 EM journals with various impact factors and abstracted all authors from original research articles published between January 2013 to September 2019. Based on the author's affiliation, we conducted web and professional searches to match the credentials of each author. Once the author's physician or professional profile were identified, we determined the author's gender through the use of male or female pronouns in the biographies or articles about these authors. If pronouns were not available, we conducted a search of each author's first name to determine the likelihood of their name being a male or female name. Third, we sorted authors based on binary gender identities or their gender could not be determined. To analyze the impact of significant authors' genders on middle authors' genders, we stratified all publications into 3 groups based on the genders of the significant authors. Group 1 had 1 male and 1 female significant author, Group 2 had both male significant authors, and Group 3 had both female significant authors. Overall, regardless of first, middle, or last author position, the majority of authors publishing in EM research are male. Based on the gender of the significant authors, we analyzed the gender of all authors in a publication. For Group 1, with 1 male and 1 female significant author, about 42% of authors were female. For Group 2, with both male significant authors, 22% of all authors were female. Lastly, for Group 3, with both female significant authors, the female authorship on the publications rose to 66%. The more females holding significant author positions significantly increased female authorship. However, in the most equal scenario, in which one significant author is male and the other is female, males still held the majority of authorship positions. So how are the middle authors affected? For Groups 1 and 2, there were significantly more male than female middle authors. However, for Group 3, there was no significant difference between the amount of male and female middle authors. Group 2 significantly had the most male middle authors, and Group 3 significantly had the most female middle authors. Therefore, gender equality for middle authorship is only achieved when both significant authors are female. Having at least 1 female significant author is not enough to establish equal representation of female middle authorship. Our analysis shows the effects of the leaders' genders on the representation of women in EM research. These findings could indicate that female leaders are emphasizing equal gender representation more on the research team. Potentially, the results from this study could represent the EM discipline. With more women in leadership positions, there could be more equitable representation of female EM physicians beyond 28%. This would require further study. A major limitation of the study is that the analysis was conducted based on the assumption that authors self-identified as a binary gender, male or female, and that their internet presence reflected their gender identity. To improve the study in the future, it is important to include non-binary gender identities in the analysis. Future analysis itself will benefit the understanding of changes in gender disparities in EM research and publication. Overall, the big takeaway from these findings is the importance of women in leadership roles and how that helps increase the representation of women in EM research. Thank you for listening to this presentation. We would especially like to thank the MRIP interns for their essential support in the data collection for this project.